In this video, I'd like to look at the power of the strategic no, when and how to turn down client work. Over my years in business, I've learned that being successful isn't just about gaining clients. It's about having the confidence to occasionally turn them away. Now, I know this may sound counterintuitive, particularly when we're starting out, but making careful choices about which clients to work with can be the difference between struggling and thriving in our businesses. Let's look at why, and when, and how to say no to potential work. The value of our time is the first thing we need to consider. Think about this. If you're charging $1,000 a day, and that should be the minimum for any consultant, I believe, then every day you spend with the wrong client is, of course, a day you can't spend with the right one. It's not just about the money. It's about the impact you can make and the satisfaction you gain from your work. I remember working with a coach who took on every client who approached her. She was busy, yes, but she wasn't making the difference she could have made, and she felt that. More importantly, she wasn't enjoying her work. And when we analysed her client base, we found, as you might be expecting, 80% of her stress came from 20% of her clients, the ones she could or should have said no to. Here's some signs that it's time to say no. Number one is misaligned values. When a potential client's values don't match yours, it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. You both end up frustrated. Next, scope creep. Before starting, if the client is trying to add extras before you've even begun, imagine what it would be like once you start working together. The next one is budget resistance. And this is something that I'm really strong about. When a client questions your fee rate before they really understand the value you're bringing, they're likely not be a right fit for your services. Next, outside your expertise. If the work isn't in your area of specialisation, taking it on does a disservice to both you and the client. So how are we going to say no professionally? Here's where many consultants struggle. They know they should say no and could say no, but they're not sure how to do it without burning bridges. So here's a straightforward approach I've used successfully. First, thank the client for considering you. Then explain why we're not the best fit for their needs. For example, thank you for thinking of me for this project. Based on what you've described, I believe you need someone who specialises in and whatever is that specific area. Whilst I could do the work, I usually focus mostly on, and we name our speciality. And because I want to make certain that you get the best possible result, can I suggest that you would speak with, and we give them the name of somebody else that does specialise in exactly what they need. And when we say that, so this person does specialise in what you want. This approach accomplishes a number of things. Firstly, it shows respect for their time and their needs. Secondly, it maintains our professional integrity. And thirdly, often leads to better suited referrals in the future. So let's look at the power of the professional no. When you say no professionally, something interesting happens. Your reputation often grows stronger. People respect consultants who know their worth and their limitation. It positions you as someone who puts client success above their own short-term gain. And you know exactly what I mean by that. It also creates space for better opportunities. Every no to a misaligned opportunity creates space for a better aligned one. It's like clearing the garden of weeds to make room for the plants we actually want to grow. I learned this lesson early in my career. When I turned down a significant project for a client, I felt really awkward about it, and it was a lot of money. But the thing is, it didn't fit with my values, and that's just so important. Only 6 months later, that same client, there was a big change in them and the business, approached me with a different request which did match. And this became one of my highest paid time slots of my whole career. So moving forward, start by being very clear about your ideal client profile, the specific value you deliver, your non-negotiable working terms, the types of projects where you excel, the minimum fee rate you'd ever accept. And then when opportunities come up, measure them against these criteria. If they don't align, be confident in saying no. Remember, you're not just saying no to the wrong work, you're saying yes to creating space for the right work. This is how you build a consulting practice that's not only profitable, but personally fulfilling. Now, the same applies to our marketing effort. When I was very first in business, I created a process in order to minimize response rates. And when I explained this to people, they thought I was crazy. But because it was only me, what I wanted to do was have a small number of highly qualified leads, not a large number of non-qualified leads. This is exactly that same thought process. I hope you can take these ideas away and use them to make a positive difference for both your clients and yourself. And so if you've enjoyed this video, there's plenty more of my videos about here. And if you'd like to be notified when I post a new one, just click the subscribe button. In the meantime, I wish you every success in all your many adventures in life. From me, Peter Thomson, until the next time, goodbye for now.